Welcome to a new mic'd up video. I haven't been able to make one of these in a little bit because it's been way too cold and I had just normal training, so it's really hard to do. And since I'm back on the AI, there's a couple days of the week that are really, today it's just front squats and clean pulls. Originally they were supposed to be bottom up front squats, but I'm at the shed and I don't think I have actual safeties, and I don't want to get the blocks set up because I do the front squats or the blocks, which is already a movement I don't, or the bottom up front squats, which is one I don't really want to try to do. And then I'd have to put them back to do clean pulls, which I do want to do, but I don't want to be moving blocks around. So we swap them out for regular front squats. So theoretically, it's like 5 doubles at 150. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do doubles, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do 150. I definitely could like front squat for a single and be fine with that, but I don't want to be aggravating my back trying to push a little bit too hard. So we're going to be conservative with that. But before we try to do that, I want to do some muscle snatches. So that's why I have the rack out of the way and move that around. I at least want to do 80, but because today and tomorrow there's no snatching or clean and jerking, and it's relatively light, or I think tomorrow there might be some light clean and jerk stuff. But I have the ability to go potentially a little bit heavier on this. Now it's about 50, I would say about 50 outside. I didn't check before I came out here. It was in the 40s earlier today, but it honestly doesn't feel too bad. I don't even have the heater on, so I think I'll be all right with just what I have on. And obviously I have multiple layers, but I think I'll get warmed up pretty quick. And I don't know, just want to hit some muscle snatches. I've been liking them, but my back thankfully obviously hasn't got worse. I've been training normally, but it's been just feeling better basically every day that I trained. And really the last kind of step is to get the repetitions in the squat back and be comfortable doing that, since I can do snatch, clean, jerk, and squat singles really, and pulls for reps, but I'm not super confident about doing reps in the squat, whether it's front or back. So if I get those back, then I'll truly be ready to start pushing really hard in the program. And honestly, I feel pretty good right now. So I haven't had to take any, anti-inflammatories or anything to get past it. But now I also need to get my IT band on this right side feeling better. And I think as I do more pulling, I think that will actually help it too. Obviously, massage and stretch and all of that stuff. But I think deadlifts for me are, for one, easy, but like I think they actually still work on my body in the sense that they do stuff like strengthen my hips and glutes and stuff, which is something I don't necessarily intentionally neglect. But with a lot of weightlifting programs, they don't focus on pulling a lot or like heavy pulls. And one thing because my deadlift is so good and so like heavy, I don't want to say atrophied when I don't train it super heavy, but like me doing 140 on a clean pull is not going to stimulate my muscles that are good at pulling as much as they need to be to maintain or to stabilize or even to build. I would like to get stronger at the deadlift, just like I want to get stronger at everything. It's just not a massive priority. So I don't necessarily mind going like crazy heavy on clean pulls and stuff, or at least like doing a heavy set or something on it, because even though I don't do a ton of volume in heavy pulls, I still like to do it. Noticing with all this rain, getting a little bit of moisture in this back, but in this back corner, I have sand before it gets to the regular platform. So it absorbs a lot of the water that will kind of drip in slowly. And I'm not sure how it really gets in. It's not like it comes from the ceiling or anything, but it's kind of underneath from the outside. So just something to be aware of. But I'm glad I did put the sand, because I put sand everywhere around the platform, but mostly in like this back corner where these yellow plates are, is kind of where, and all the way even to like right here, you can kind of see the sand's wet. So I'm glad I have that, because that will protect this platform. And that's another reason I wanted to stack it up too, is to protect it from moisture at the bottom. Because I think that's one thing, that and it being on top of the other one, it won't get that divot on the left side. So it's just a lot more generally symmetrical. And thankfully, I have another platform from which to build from if this one starts to get damaged or I need to replace it. Just stack it above and, continue to build up, because I got so much space above my head. I could build 4 more platforms. Although hopefully I don't ever have to. I think this one's going to last me a very long time. So I haven't had noticed any like glaring issues with it. And it's been really nice, and I've been abusing it out here. So I've been using this a lot more than I used the old one. And the old one really held up well for as long as I had it, but it was certainly a bare bones one. And this one, having all the layers and being built more properly with the wood base and then the rubber, I think it's just built to last more. But we'll get some weight on here. Each day, since I've started at AI again, I've done muscle snatches to 80. I'll probably continue that trend today. I don't know if I'm going to use straps or not. I've been kind of alternating. Doesn't really make too much of a difference with muscle snatches. But if I'm going to be doing hook grip with the regular snatches, then I kind of just don't bother straps. If I'm going to be strapping on snatches, then I don't mind strapping on those. And it's less about any sort of like grip strength thing for the muscle snatch in particular. It's more of just like maintaining the calluses and stuff on my skin if I am using straps for them. So I don't want to be tearing up my hands on a movement that's not really programmed in, but it's just a good warm-up. It does kind of say it on the AI. If you see the description, it's like muscle snatches are kind of a warm-up. I think 80 is probably, beyond a percentage that they would say is a warm-up, but also like doing the movement, which is a good justification for doing it. So this will be my first working set here. I'm very fashionable today with my red sweatpants, blue sweatshirt, and brown hat, and black shoes. Really matching at every facet. These are supposed to be swishy pants when I order them from Amazon, but unfortunately they're cloth, so they've turned into workout pants. So I normally wouldn't buy Under Armour sweatpants to train in, but I wanted to get swishy ones that I could wear for work, but Amazon trolled me. But they're also pretty nice, so they weren't too bad expense-wise. All right, we'll just 40. See how my IT band's feeling. I'll be kind of curious because I did a lot of pulling yesterday, and historically, that's actually helped IT band issues. Don't really know why, unless it's just like I get more glute activation in all my lifts. Whoa! Oh. Everything's sore. That's all right. So IT band didn't bother me too much there. Just knees and everything are generally sore. It kind of feels nice just to be back to normal aches and whatnot. But that's another reason I like muscle snatches is even if they go bad, everything hurts and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm just warming up with them. And so it doesn't matter if I get to whatever weight. It does not matter whatsoever. I've also, with the AI, added in a heavy day of the week. So like they call it Big Friday or whatever. I guess most weightlifters probably do. But I also have like 2 layers under this. So it's kind of hard to pull up my sweatshirt because I have a black shirt underneath. But with the like Big Friday, which will be Saturday for me, I don't necessarily want to go to an absolute max. I kind of want to push my snatch more aggressively than my clean and jerk, but I just want to go to a heavy single on that day just to practice. And so ideally like 120, 150 each week would be fine. All right. So this is 50. I've also been taking smaller jumps when I've been doing these as well, just 10 kilos each time, because the goal is to try to get everything moving and grooving. And honestly, if you're going to do a dynamic warm-up, just do muscle snatches. It's dynamic, it's technically easy, and they're fun. More fun than swinging your leg around and stuff. Plus, it's pretty specific to weightlifting. Some may argue they can help with technique even, but I think they're just fun. Oh, there's a spider. He doesn't look very alive. I have a weird philosophy with spiders. So if a spider comes on my platform, he dies. But if a spider is just chilling, hiding, running away, that I'm chilling with them because I want them to eat all the bugs out here. But I don't think that guy's alive. I ain't worried about him, though, if he's not living. But spiders out here are useful, like I said, to eat the insects. But I do not want them running across the platform. That's the agreement I made with them. They don't always adhere to that treaty that I set with them. I even had one that was coming down from the ceiling. That still counts. You're in my territory. So I had to, take care of that guy. But if you're running away and going into the sand and into the corners, that's where you need to be. Eat all those flies and mosquitoes in the summer. All right, so 60. Feeling better and better. I contemplated actually doing these today or not and just going into front squats, but I figured even if front squats went bad, if I'd feel better about the session if I did muscle snatches too. And there's never really a good reason not to do a muscle snatch. Scoot over. Thank you. It's kind of strange training without music or really like stimulation. I haven't done it in a little bit. I've been at the gym so much, and even if I use my headphones most of the time, but even if I don't, there's usually music playing or talking or whatever, so there's just stuff going on. It's kind of nice, more relaxing. I might have to cheat on some of the front squats and play some music, but for muscle snatches, I don't need any assistive equipment besides maybe straps if my hands were, I want to protect my hands a little bit, but I did them with straps yesterday, so I can do them no hook today. I've also thought about doing them with a hook grip, but don't really want to do that. All right, 70. Still feeling pretty good. Let's go up to 80. Maybe do 90. The other day I tried 95 and failed it, but I was really happy that it didn't hurt me or anything. Because when I was still going through it a little bit, the one day I did an 80 muscle snatch, it was really bothering, like it really kind of flared my back up that one time. But ever since then, it kind of rapidly got better, which is nice. Which tells me that it really wasn't ever a serious thing, which is also really nice. It's nice when it's not a crazy, terrible thing that you have to miss a bunch of training. And really, I only missed a couple days at the most, or really one full day. And then I just kind of slowly but surely got back and kept tweaking it until I stopped trying to go too hard with it and just eased back into it. And it finally relaxed. That and just stretching, doing the rotational stretches, I think helped a lot. I honestly think that was the biggest key, was the twisting stretches to do it. And I honestly think doing some lacrosse ball work on that area of my back also helped loosen it up. So just a combination of things, but just things to remember, that I should always be doing rotational stretches. I should massage that area. I should just be aware of that area of really trying to flex that when I'm starting any lift off the ground. So that's just better technique in general. And I think it's honestly been helping my technique make it look a little bit better. All right, so it's just 80. Make this easy so we can do 90. Not the easiest, but kind of still want to do 90, so we're going to try it. I think we'll put on some performance enhancing music for it though. Muscle snatchers are just too fun not to try heavier weights with. But thankfully, my back feels really good. really I'm just surprised that everything's feeling pretty good. Even like knees and IT band and stuff, nothing's really like feeling glaringly painful. I mean, I don't have knee wraps or anything on, which is something I'll use for, you know, the normal lifts, but when I'm doing muscle snatches, I try to avoid putting them on unless I really need it, or, you know, really feel like putting it on prior to doing regular snatches and stuff, because I kind of want to feel how bad I feel. I want to feel the pain. And anything, if you watch my lifting for long enough, you know, kind of a masochist in that way. But we'll play the break chord because that doesn't usually get picked up by the copyright. And I like it anyway, so we'll get vibing. So this is going to be 90, and this will this will for sure be the top set because I don't plan on going up for more. If I could talk correctly, I don't plan on going more because I have front squats, and there's not really a ton of utility going past 80 for muscle snatches for me. You know, like 90 if I can make it easy theoretically, but I kind of end up pressing it a bit more. But that's the muscle snatch game. Clean, wide grip clean plus press. That's what I'm going for. We'll get it up. Wish me luck. So it's actually decently easy, I mean, for the percentage that it was. I think the best, I feel like I've done more than 95 before, but when you get to 90 in the muscle snatch for me, the percentage is really high of this particular lift, so it's really good to be able to do. And I assume for probably other people, maybe the no contact makes it more difficult with a no hook. I do most of them muscle snatches like that, so that's just kind of what my working max is based off of. I actually do a little bit worse when I make contact in the muscle snatch. Ends up kind of, I don't know, like I end up just getting slower in the middle when it makes contact. And honestly, you know, I treat this as, like I've been talking about, just like a warm-up lift. So it's not like a crazy technical one. I'm thinking about the pull a lot and trying to mimic what I'm going to do in the snatch, but as far as like, obviously there's no contact, so I'm not really obviously thinking about that, but just trying to keep it close, trying to pull correctly, and then just try not to press it out too bad. I mean, obviously you don't want it down at your chest and have to do a strict press, so just trying to get that aggressive flip so then you can just, you know, finish the press on it. Finish pressing it out like a real man. But we're ready for front squats now. And honestly, that was pretty happy with that. Yeah, I did have to get a little hyped up for it, but nothing that's too crazy. So we'll throw this on there. See how my back feels for these. I will throw knee wraps on for these. And I guess I've probably talked about this in other videos, but the black knee wraps I have are the new like heavy to do ones from Hook Grip, and these are the old ones. So when you use these ones, they help, but not as the black ones from Hook Grip, the squat ones, are quite aggressive. And generally, I mean, I like them, but I don't like wearing them all the time because they kind of just bunch up like how these ones will. But they get a little painful when they're pinched up, and will really cut off the circulation just because they're generally tighter, because they're a thicker, denser material. But I think they give me a pretty similar bounce in the squat, or a similar benefit than the sleeves will, which is interesting. These don't help as much as sleeves, but also don't have a huge difference between my sleeve lifts and wrapped lifts and squats and whatnot. For deadlifts, it makes literally no difference. But if I was going to go to a maximum lift for cleans, for snatches, it doesn't matter, but for cleans or for squats, then I would definitely want the knee sleeves, just because it's a stable compression. When you have wraps on, the biggest issue with them is you don't always put them on the same exact way. The compression can be a little bit different, and as you lift, as you move, as you warm up, they could loosen or move around and change the amount that it's helping you. Usually less, because it loosens as you train more, but at the same time, you know, it's good for normal training, because as you see, I just throw it over my sweatpants, so it's convenient for that. But for competition, obviously you want to have consistency in the compression that you have. But I think we'll just keep the clip rolling and just keep talking, because I should be working out fast anyway, even though like I'm not super cold or anything. It's just a good thing to do on some of these days. So I'm gonna try to just do doubles on the way up, regular doubles, not pauses or any sort of slow eccentrics and stuff, because the two variations that it's weird, because it'll give me bottom up squats in the program, and then it'll allow you to swap between two other movements, and the other two are just front or back squats. And I always think it should swap between the bottom ups and like pauses or something, or like slow eccentrics or something. So I feel like those are closer from what they're trying to work on. But at this point, and really at any point, I'm not really going to complain too much. I do kind of want to try the pin squats with the front at some point, but that point is not today. All right, make sure we keep back nice and tight. Hip feels pretty good. Just crackly like normal, but IT band feels good. So the stuff I've been doing has been helping. But the pulling that I have today, I think is 171. So we'll probably just do 170, 175, and 180. I kind of want to get back to being a little bit more aggressive with pulling, but I don't know. I'm trying to be straight to following like the numbers it gives, but for pulls, I don't think it's really that critical. For me, a difference between 171 and 180 for pulling speed is not that significant really at all. Also, even though I put everything in the AI, in the app, I always write down everything too. It feels good to write stuff down. I'd recommend that for everyone. Not just for lifting stuff, but just for stuff in general. There's certainly, I don't know this for certain, but I feel like there's certainly a cognitive benefit to physically writing things down. It gets lost in the current age with a lot of technology, making it easier to simply type out stuff. I mean, I can type very quickly, faster than I can write, but there's something about physically writing that's good for you. So I recommend it. Keep a daily journal. Make a to-do list. I used to do to-do lists all the time. I don't do it so much now, but it's kind of a nice staple to have. If you feel your life getting out of control, you feel a little too stressed, a little bit, too out of whack, just make a to-do list and start working at that. You don't got to do it forever, but just till you feel like you're, getting some stuff done. It's a good start, but we'll see how 100 feels. We're gonna do 100 for 2, and then maybe 130, then go right to 150. Make sure everything feels okay. Felt my IT band a little bit more, but back feels good, which is the more concerning thing the IT band has been a thing on and off forever. Or literally from the first time I've done squats. But we still make it work. I'm looking up more than I would normally in squats. That's more so to like really emphasize keeping my back tight and making sure everything is staying staying aligned properly. But I don't know. I have my belt out here too. I don't think I'll try to belt anything. The belt hasn't really helped with the spasms or anything. There's not really much of a point of using it. Plus, in this point of training, in the first week of, I think, 8, it's not a ton of utility. Probably more utility in not using a belt. So we're going to be, this is like the cautious weight, because I've done a single at 150 in the week that I was kind of like getting everything reconfigured to be back to lifting. So if I'm able to do this for 2, that's already a positive step. And so I'll be happy with that. And I'd honestly be okay just doing, because I think it's 5 doubles in the front squat. I would be fine just making those singles. So we'll see how they feel. If something hurts too bad in my AT band or something, I might just chill out and just do a single. So we'll see how the reps feel. But we just want to make sure everything's just staying where it should be. Whew. Starting to get really warm in here too. These layers are really helping. All right. So we filled our back a little bit. So we're just going to make that a single. I'm going to try to do 150. If I feel anything weird on it, I'm just going to drop it. Because I did feel this with the 160 double I did in the back squat. And so I don't want to be trying to do a double if I'm unsure of myself. But if I can do 150 for 1, that's good. If I can do it for 2 singles, that's even better. But we don't want to push it too hard, too quick with these. We just want to ease back in really as slow as possible because we want to avoid any sort of retweaking of anything. So I'm going to unrack it. We're going to see, make sure nothing feels weird. And honestly, it was like at the end of the rep when I was at the top. And I think what happens is I kind of relax as I'm going forward. And that like slight relaxation is what my back will spasm with because it's like slightly rounded. So just gotta make sure I'm staying up with it, but we'll cheat again with some music. So I think we've committed to the deviation of the plan to just do a single here. We'll see how hyped I'm at and if I feel good enough to do a double. We'll see. We want to keep the back healthy, keep it grooving. Well, I have good news and I have bad news. It wasn't my back. I choked myself. I started to lose consciousness there. which is, we certainly wouldn't say that's ideal. I fell on my back a little bit, but as I stood there, it was good. And I was good to do the rep, but when I sat, I was not really conscious there at the bottom. So we're gonna get this bad boy loaded back on there. I still want to do a single and really commit to it, but I definitely like pushed my arms up too high and choked myself out. So that's not good. I've only done that like one other time, but sometimes if you really are like arching back and like pushing up, then you get it too back in your carotid. I started to pass out, that is for sure. Oh, these plates are in the way. But I think we're good for a single. Like, it didn't feel bad. I guess I didn't really feel much anything because I was going out of consciousness. But all right. Before we load this back on there, I'm going to stretch my front rack a little bit. I didn't really stretch much, especially my front rack before I trained. If 150 kind of goes awry, I'll probably just do whatchamacallit. Lost my train of thought. Oh, I'll just do some front rack holds instead, just to get used to holding weight in that position. But I think me being a little bit not confident in my back made me arch up a little bit too much with my hands and push it into my carotid. Just a little bit too much. Which happens. So I just gotta be a little bit more confident, trust myself a little bit more, and if something feels weird, dump it off like I did. I normally try to stand up a little bit. As you saw there, I was really at the bottom and I wanted to get it off me. Kind of had to get it off. It wasn't really optional at that point. So obviously I don't want to fall backwards, but as long as you're not an idiot, you don't do that. All right, so do over. So it's odd because I'm feeling my back a little bit and then it stops and then I can do the lift. So we're going to do at least one more single because I feel like the practicing of just even 150 is just going to be good. I honestly wanted to try a second rep, but I thought better of it. I don't think that's smart to do right now. We'll still give this a 3. It's kind of annoying that you have to go in and change the reps. Actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Theoretically, it's 6 doubles, but they're bottom up ones. So we'll see how we're feeling. I mean, if I don't feel anything weird on this one, then we'll just, I gotta take this hat off. I'm starting to cook. If I don't feel anything weird before I start to lift, then I might try a double, but I'm gonna be cautious with it. We're gonna definitely cheat and use music, but I'm happy with at least one single. So if something feels weird, get it off. Get it away, and move on to some clean pulls, which haven't bothered me at all, which is nice. All right, so that was the first set, I guess you could say. Good. Different song, different vibe. Same kind of thing with my back, where it's like stepping it out, I'm there and it like feels odd, and then it goes away almost immediately, and then I don't feel it during any other part of the lift. So I don't know if it's just like me bracing a bit better, then it goes away, but we're gonna keep doing some sort of singles. And honestly, I'm pretty happy. I'm happy to be able to do 150 for singles at this point. The stupid part of my head's like, just do another one, go for it. But I just don't have the weight tolerance, really. If I don't feel anything when I walk it out, then I might commit to a double, but not at this point. We gotta be smart. So I don't really want to push my luck too much. So we'll say that this will be my last set. So we'll take off the other ones. I don't want to push too hard in this movement. And if I feel able to, I might add some more front squats. Probably Saturday, some sort of squatting, because it literally just gives me snatch and clean and jerk to a max. So on those days, or on Saturday, I'll kind of target that day and see how I'm feeling after the main lifts and maybe add in some more. But we'll leave the 2 reps on. We'll see if we can do a double here. Make sure everything is good to go. Honestly, this is good progress. I mean, the last time I did this last week, it was just for a single, and I was really worried the whole time. And now it's like I'm pretty confident that it's gonna move, but I'm not gonna retweak something. So we'll just keep being conservative. I think that's gonna help me just get better in general. So that's definitely a good set to end on with those. Let me enter that in. Felt my IT down a little bit, but nothing in my back, which is good. And still felt that same thing. I think it was literally, as I was trying to like really pay attention when it was happening, like I stepped back, and that last step is when I was feeling it. So I think it is literally like rotational with that. Because during the regular lift, nothing, even on the second one at the top, anything like that. So that's really good. Do that for a double at this point. So my squats are coming back, which is good. I mean, doing 160 for a back squat double and not being confident to do another one, and then doing that one and being more like a strength limiter than like I'm worried about the next one, which is good. Really good. So we got clean pulls now, and I'm gonna take the greens off, do a warm up set with whatchamacallit, 130. Do 130, 150 that I got here, and then do the first working set with at least 170, probably like I said, 170, 175, 180, and really just be on our way. I mean, honestly, I'm pretty excited now. Like, nothing got tweaked. Yeah, doing squats and stuff now. I'm just kind of waiting for something to go wrong. I know it sounds kind of negative, but like when you kind of have that apprehension when things are randomly happening at times with your body, you kind of just get a little nervous that it's gonna like keep progressing. But thankfully at this point, I feel like it's a lot of progression. I kind of feel like doing some good mornings today too. Because if I was at the gym, I'd be doing some back extensions, but I don't have a back extension in here, so that's not going to be possible. But with these clean pulls, and I actually found a use for these straps from Gabrielson Crane. So as you see, I put tape on the bottom to connect them after cutting them apart because they were too long. So now I essentially use them the same way that they were originally designed. They're just shorter now, but I really like the material. And that's the only reason I haven't given up on them, is like, I don't know what kind of belt material it is or like what kind of fabric, but it just feels nice. So I'll probably only use them for pulls. I've been using them a lot for those and for like pull-ups. They're nice for those because they're connected. So we're gonna do a single here, and then a single at 150, and then triples. I don't know if I said that, but they're triples today. Yesterday they were sets of 5, which really were makeups from the day before. Thank goodness pulls always are easy. I could be broken in every part of my body. I'm probably still deadlift. We're just gonna go to 160 because that's easier to load. 150 is not difficult, but it makes 170 easier to get to. So we'll do a quick single here. I mean, really, I could just go to 170, but we'll do an extra rep. I'm just gonna cruise through these because I mean, it's just 3 triples. They're clean pulls, so they're not difficult. And it's actually, if you like doing pulls, weightlifting is certainly a good sport for you because you can do pulls like every day. I mean, if you like deadlifting stuff, I should say. Because if you're doing like powerlifting stuff, you're not really going to deadlift probably normal deadlifts more than twice a week if you're really strong at them. And then obviously auxiliaries, but I mean, I could do pulls every single day and probably be pretty much recovered. Unless they were maximal, but maximal clean pulls are just deadlifts for me. Alright, single here. Really trying to focus on driving with my legs and arching my back to make sure it's in the proper alignment. But nothing much else. Just trying to pull it fast and pretend that I can clean it. So this will be my first working set. 170 por 3. I learned a new word at school, Spanish word, pastelito de maíz, which is corn muffin, which is what they're eating at lunch. So I was curious what it was in Spanish. But when you have an ito at the end of a word, it often means like the kid version of it. For instance, if you have someone named Juan, like Juan, you might name, or they might be called as a kid, Juanito. Kind of like my first name is Jim. When I was a kid, I was Jimmy. So to me, it makes perfect sense, but for a English speaker, it may not make sense, but once you kind of get into it, the Ito is kind of like kid version, like Ninito, like a Nino is a kid, and then you have the Ito, that's like a toddler or like a smaller version of that. I guess sometimes it means like the cuter version or something, but a pastelito is a cupcake, because it's a smaller version of a cake. And then maíz, that's corn. All right. Enough of my terrible Spanish lesson. Now you know what corn muffin is in Spanish and what Ito means sometimes at the end of words. So you're ready to not speak any Spanish to anyone unless you hear Juanito, then you know, oh, that's probably a kid. Probably talking about a kid. I wonder what would happen if you called an adult Juanito. I feel like they probably look at you funny. All right. With some of the clean pulls, because I've had them so much, I'm trying to do them less like Lasha, where I'm out in front more, and really just going through more of the full motion. Same with snatches, to really kind of pull it back into where it's going to make contact in the normal lift. I'm not trying to pull it super high. I'm more just trying to do a more complete pull, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, then you're dumb, not me, says the guy out lifting alone in the shed with red sweatpants, a blue sweatshirt, brown hat, black shoes. But honestly, that's just high fashion. All right, we'll enter that in. I do kind of think sessions like this with any program, but I like them with the AI because it feels more directed. Like it's like I have to do a day like this. But honestly, like if I'm in normal shape and I am like going through, it's like it's nice just to have a day. I'm focused on squats and pulls, and I'm not stressed that like I got to do snatch and clean and jerk on a particular day. Because like for me, even though I'm worried about squats right now and retweaking my back or whatever, it's not really that stressful in relation to like I'm trying to do a 90% snatch or something. Like I have to really focus in on those. Like I just kind of have to just think to stay tight in the squat, and then it's really just hoping my body stays together. Makes it sound like I'm not really like thinking of anything, but it's like, you know, you're thinking of the proper technique, but it's just easier to implement on a lift that just doesn't require as much cognitive functioning during the lift. Same with like these clean pulls. Like, they're just not hard to think about. Get yourself tight and try to do it like a clean. And then pretend like you're cleaning it at the top. But don't try to clean it because you'll die. Alright, so this is 175. And one of the things I know why these are good for my IT bands is when I'm doing like the regular snatch and stuff, and I was seeing that like just my right leg was like bending in a little bit. These really emphasize my glutes and back and stuff. And so like my legs are not going to be buckling in hardly at all, just because it's a stronger leverage point for me. So it's just going to train my back on obviously glutes and whatnot, but also my legs to not do the wrong thing and pull more symmetrically. So it's good for practice for the actual lifts as well, which is why they're in programs. But they also get you strong. I think pulls are uber important for anyone that wants to not suck at weightlifting. And I don't know why it's not emphasized more. It's such a fun way to just get stronger. But you see so many people randomly hit a deadlift PR and it looks like they haven't deadlifted any significant weight in their life. Like, it pulls so fast. And it's kind of like a weird training oxymoron that I've kind of gone through myself. When you're doing weightlifting, you're moving really fast. And if it feels like it slows down at all in a snatch or a clean, it feels a lot heavier and it feels like you can't do it, or it feels like a maximal lift. Same isn't true for a squat or for a deadlift. When you're powerlifting, you're used to that slowing down at heavy percentages and being able to still accelerate through the weight or grind through the weight or whatever. And with weightlifting, with I think a lot of amateur weightlifters, they kind of get away from the fact that you kind of just gotta have some brute strength. Like, it's not gonna hurt you to have a really strong deadlift. Now, obviously, if you're practicing the snatch and clean jerk, you shouldn't be, doing maximal deadlifts all the time, but it's hard for me to really argue if you can only deadlift 120 kilos and your best clean is 100, that if you can deadlift a little bit more, that it's gonna help your clean. There's a law of diminishing returns with that, because for me, I can deadlift 300. That doesn't help my clean anymore. That's just for my ego, and also it's just because it's fun at that point. But I would say being able to pull progressively heavier weights faster is also a good way to measure that as well. So potentially, let's say that your max deadlift is 150 kilos, and that's like RP 10. You couldn't do another one. You're shaking, red in the face. Well, say 130, you can usually move that pretty well. If you can move that well faster, maybe for a double, maybe multiple times in the same week, then that's also progress. And that's true of every single lift that you do, but mostly of strength lifts, because if you're able to progress not just the top end strength, because at a certain point that becomes difficult and detrimental to do all the time to just go to maximum. But if you're able to look at the percentages and able to move them faster, move them easier, move them more consistently, more frequently, then that's other ways to measure it as well. And also you can measure like how quickly you can get back to, say, an 80% lift after not doing heavy squats for a while, how quickly you can get back to a certain weight, and you kind of know, like, all right, this is a true 70 or 80% lift because I wasn't able to do whatever, and then I was able to get back to whatever. And like what your true strength is. But lots of ways to measure strength. And if you just only want to do 1 rep maxes, that's obviously just going to be holding you back, and it's going to be discouraging because you're not always going to hit new maxes unless you're a brand new lifter. And so being able to do a lift that, say you're nervous about, if 150, use that example again, if 150 is like your deadlift max and you do like 140 on a day and it's like, that actually felt really easy, I feel like I could do more, then that's good. Like, that doesn't mean you got to go to 155 on that day. All that means is that you're pulling it fast enough. You could probably do more, but it also means that all of the lighter, like the percentages that you can work at are just a bit higher. And it's just a slow, so as I get this wedgie out, it's a slow building game. And you just have to be patient with it and have to want to be aggressive. That's where the oxymoron comes in. It's like, you want to be aggressive with it. You don't want to never max and never be aggressive and push up to something, but you also don't want to do it too much because then it becomes a detriment. So it's a balancing act. And that's why I would say for most lifts, it's probably good to have someone with you training. But for a lot of strength lifts, it's nice, especially if you're not confident, to have someone there to kind of motivate you to push a little bit harder, to push a little bit heavier than you otherwise would have been. Not always, because it's really, you have to be able to have that internal mechanism with how you feel to know if you should increase the weight or decrease the weight, or if that's, your maximum weight for that day or for that particular movement. But it's also nice to know if you're filming, and that's why I like filming everything. Even before I even did, any YouTube videos, like I'd film it and just, post whatever training stuff or just look at it myself. Even did it with baseball. It's like, you can see what you're doing. You can physically see the progress. And then when you look back at, a couple months ago, you can see how your movement has changed, or how a similar weight moved, or just how you physically looked at a certain time. So like, to me, it's interesting in that regard as well. Besides obviously the benefit of in actual training days, being able to adjust things and see things happen in real time and be able to coach yourself. And that's, I think, another misconception that happens with people who want to try weightlifting, every online weightlifting coach says you need to have a weightlifting coach because, well, that's their livelihood, is coaching people at weightlifting. And unless you are a kid, if you're like a youth lifter, then I would say 100% you should probably find a coach and figure out how to move properly and kind of go on that path. But if you're like how I was, like 21, 22 or whatever, 23, and you're trying out weightlifting, are you going to go to the Olympics? No. Are you going to be a really great lifter? Probably not. Like, you might get to a decent point, but it's like you can get a coach and maybe make a little bit more progress, but just film yourself. Try to get a little bit better each time, and just do that, because that's all lifting is for anyone. That's, you're just trying to get better than you were the previous time. And it's helpful to have people look at it and be having a third eye looking at it. But most people who are wanting to try weightlifting have done another sport at some point, and most people in general have done a sport at some point. And if you are decently athletic, like, you're just going to get better at whatever lifts that you try to do. And as long as you're consistent with it and you film yourself and you know what you're trying to fix and you're not just trying to brute force it, then there's no reason not to just go at it and just see what you can do. Because lifting's fun, and it's also extremely expensive to pay for a coach and to go to a weightlifting gym. Like, I could go to another gym and I could pay for a weightlifting coach and I'd be paying 200 some bucks a month. And like, I'm 30 years old. Like, why am I going to waste that much money? I'm making good progress on my own. Like, I at a decent enough strength level, and a lot of the coaches that I see around me, like, I'm just stronger than. So it's not like an ego thing with me, but it's like, if I'm going to be coached by someone, like, I want them to be a dominant lifter. And I could go 2 hours and drive to someone, but at that point, it's like, I'm spending a lot of time on the road and burning out my car, when I'm not going to get that. It's not going to make that much of a difference when I kind of know what I need to be doing. I need to get stronger. I need to, improve technique. I need to see what I need to do, what I'm doing wrong, and fix that. And that's just true of like every kind of lifting, even if you don't care about weightlifting, even if you only want to do power cleans. Like, you just film it, look at it, then delete it. Then you just move on with your life. I'd recommend most people to film it and keep a catalog, even if you just post it on YouTube and just leave every video unlisted, just so you're able to see. I think having that catalog of stuff is just invaluable, because I don't look back too often, very long ago. But if like you're ever in a rough spot and you're ever like, really can't lift, and you're like kind of depressed with like the progress, and you just look back how you looked 4 years ago, and you realize like how much progress you can make, or how much you have made since that time, and realize just like how different you are. And as far as the lifter goes, I mean, in general too, because you're gonna look different in 4 years, but like, you just see that difference. You realize like, all right, I'm doing something right at least. Like, if you look back in 4 years, and let's say that like, I don't know what I was doing 4 years ago as far as like a snatch, but let's say I was like doing like, I don't know, probably 4 years ago, I was probably pretty weak. So let's say I was doing, 80 kilograms. If after 4 years of training, you're only doing 85, you're doing something wrong. So you need to hopefully figure that out before that point. But even if you do most things wrong, you're going to get to improvements. And if you have any sort of coordination or athletic ability, like that progress will be able to happen, because you'll just feel what you're doing wrong, or be able to see it on the video and understand what you're doing wrong, and then be able to figure that out. And that's why, like, the people who make videos and stuff that talk about technique, like, those are invaluable for people that just want to try out the lifts. But I would say if you're trying to do weightlifting, the first step is to go and do weightlifting. Like, immediately that day. If you ever have the inkling to do an overhead squat or a snatch and you're crazy enough to do it, just go do something. Grab a bar and start eating above your head. Obviously, make sure you're not going to kill someone or drop a bar on yourself, but start with the bar, see how it feels, go through it. It's literally what I did. First day I ever tried a weightlifting movement was in college. My buddy was doing overhead squats. And I said, that looks kind of wild. Let's see what I can do. And I remember distinctly doing a 135 pound snatch of some sort with a snatch grip, and did like an overhead squat. Whether it was a snatch or just the overhead squat, I don't distinctly remember, but I remember doing it with 135 pounds. And that was when I was like 20. And I was doing cleans at that point, and I was only doing cleans up to like 235 pounds, so like 107. And they were ugly and difficult. You can look back at my super old videos and see what I was doing in college as far as like cleans and stuff. And that, obviously, like, if I got a coach right at that point, like, that'd be great. But also, I'm a college student. I am in school to be, at that point, was to be a teacher, not to be a weightlifter. And weightlifting was just something I was just like, I didn't even I came to weightlifting in the weirdest way. And I know I've waited way too long to do this lift, but it's a deadlift or a pull, so I'll be fine with it. And it's just 180. But I came to weightlifting in the weirdest way because I saw, like I said, my friend who did football in college do an overhead squat, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And so I went through it. I still did powerlifting, and then I just did some cleans and like just kind of dabbled in it a little bit. And then once I moved down to where I live now, the first gym I was at, I started to do more snatches and just kept doing a little bit of snatch and clean and jerk and slowly transition. That's why it's hard to say like, when did I start weightlifting? Because it was a gradual process. And there was a point where I did a weightlifting meet and a powerlifting meet in the same year. And then it was like when I did the powerlifting meet first and then the weightlifting meet. And then that's when I decided like weightlifting is just more fun. The competition was more fun. It goes a lot faster. And I was just having more fun doing the lifts. So that's when I was like, all right, I'm just going to just do weightlifting at that point. And that was probably like 2017 or 18. Some point, maybe probably 2017. It's hard to really tell. I mean, if you look at my first weightlifting meet, that's when I decided. So I think that's a video to search back. But like it was at that point where I decided that. And I never had a coach. I talked about my roommate, helping me with lifting and stuff. It wasn't like he was there like analyzing my technique. He just would tell me a cue or something and I would try to do it. And he was stronger than me at the time and he's still like really coordinated. He's getting back into doing the lifts, but it's like his coordination was what I was trying to emulate. Like it was cool to see him lift more weight than I could at that point, but he was a lot faster, a lot more coordinated. I would say the fact that I had a technical model to look at was probably the most useful thing in person because he moved a lot faster. And I would argue that he probably still can move faster the same weight because we move in a different way because he's shorter and stockier, more like a Artem Akalov type build. And I'm more like a Klokov build. But seeing someone move that fast and that efficiently, then you're trying to like, oh, all I have to do is just try to do that a little bit. And then that helped my lifting tremendously. And wasn't, like I said, he wasn't there coaching me and saying like, you got to do this and balance this or that. We just got after it. And that's I think probably the best key. I mean, if you got to do it by yourself, then it's better than not doing it at all. But you can find a buddy or you find someone that's stronger than you to lift at, whether it's weightlifting or powerlifting. That's the best stimulus. I think a coach can help, but I'm not trying to dog on coaches like it's a bad thing. Obviously, it's a good thing. If you got money to burn, like minds will spend it on that to get the most help that you can. But if it's between not doing weightlifting because you don't know where to start, well, look up a video. Like Zach Tellender's got all kinds of videos of how to start and just start doing the movements. Start trying to do an overhead squat. See if you even have the mobility for it. See if you even like doing it. Do snatches for a week and see if like this is absolutely horrendous and I don't want to do it. But maybe you catch the bug like most weightlifters have at some point and you realize that when you pull on a weight that you're not sure if you can get under, and then you get under it, that there's no other better feeling when lifting a weight. That was a true moment that I got addicted to weightlifting. It was the first clean. It was on, I remember it because I think it was like a 315 clean. It was like one of those like bro lifts, like 315, like everyone wants to do that with a bench press. But like when I was doing that, it was like 315 was like a lot of weight, especially at that time. But like pulling on it for most of when I started weightlifting, I could pull on cleans and stuff so high that it wasn't scary to get under. But it's that first weight that you pull on that it doesn't go super high and it feels a little scary to commit to it, but you can go under it, and then you do, and you actually like stand it up and whatnot, then that's when you realize like that's the feeling you're going for, that like nervous excitement. It's like a roller coaster, but you have the control over it, and you have to be fully committed to it, which especially for cleans, but for all the lifts, like you can't half effort a clean or half effort a snatch and complete it. Like you're gonna have to fully commit. Same with jerk. Like you have to fully commit to wanting to do it. And I think that's just a positive mindset to have just in general. But it's one that I think is unique to weightlifting because it can be so difficult. But man, I would just start. If you're someone that's thinking about, I think someone that commented, it's like, I don't know where to start. He's like, you're on YouTube, just look up YouTube videos and just start figuring out something that you can do and just start practicing it. Find a bar, find something that you can do, and just start experimenting with it and see how good you can get at it. Because really, all we are doing out here lifting weights, it's just a physical pursuit to see how far we can go with our own personal selves. And you see other people and you see how far you could potentially go, and it's, you know, discouraging at different points when you see people a lot stronger or whatever. But you just have to realize that you're trying to progress against yourself, and as long as you're having fun with it and you enjoy the grind of trying to get better at it, there's no reason not to keep trying to get better at it. We'll throw this on here. I think I need to do this deadlift, this clean pull at some point, but I don't know. That was a long tirade, but I think an important one because it's good. Lifting's good, and I think people overdo it, like myself, but I think it discourages people from doing it at any level. Because I've had this conversation with actually my sister saying that she should lift, but I think that, not just her in particular, but I think a lot of people who aren't really that interested in, like, you know, going crazy obsessive with lifting kind of see people like us that are obsessed with it and think that, you know, it's unhealthy, or it's like they're going to be in pain all the time and this or that. It's like, if I just wanted to do some power snatches and maybe a couple light snatches and some squats and just be healthy and feel good, like, I wouldn't really ever be in that much pain really ever, or like, you know, I wouldn't be hurting my back randomly, or, you know, there wouldn't be like issues. I would just be generally, I don't want to say healthier, but I would just be, you know, not trying to push my body to the max. And you don't need to if you're just, you know, having fun with it. Start out with some light weights, power snatch 95 pounds and see how that feels, and probably get addicted to it because it's an addicting thing to do, whether it's weightlifting or just lifting in general. That's the one thing that a weightlifter and a powerlifter will always agree on, is that lifting weights is really fun. All right. Let's hope that this 10-minute break doesn't mess me up, but for any other lift it would, but for pulls, I'll be all right. So this is 180. Whew, not too bad. It feels interesting on my back because it doesn't feel 100% even on those, but it doesn't feel bad. I just feel like it has to work a little bit harder than it normally would. Because normally with pulls, I just pull it, and it just, you know, it's a strain, but it's not like I feel any particular part of my back or anything. So that's it for this workout. I think I might do some good mornings, but I'm not going to film them. I think this video is long enough as it is. And I'm probably just going to do the bar because I haven't done the movement in a while, and I've just been doing back extensions. So I'm going to do it and kind of treat it like a stretch more so than anything. But if you made it this far, I appreciate it. And if you agree with my tirade about lifting and stuff, then I appreciate it. And if you disagree, then you're wrong, and I hate you, but not really. And if you're mad about the weightlifting coach thing, then that's just kind of how I feel. I think gatekeeping weightlifting, that you have to like have a coach or whatever, is just not true. I mean, you see people getting powerlifting all the time, they don't have a coach, and weightlifting is more difficult than a lot of the powerlifting movements, but just do it. Just have fun with it. Just lift some weights. That's what it's about. Because most of the time, you're not going to be a super great lifter and be at the Olympics or powerlifting national worlds or whatever it is. And so you're just lifting for yourself, and that's the nice thing with the gym. It's all about you. Helps with helps if you're a narcissist. Like one could argue that I might have some tendencies for it, but hey, lifting weights is fun. Do it. Let's see if this will submit properly. Oh, I didn't put my muscle snatches in. Whoopsie. All right. Well, I won't bore you with that, but I do have to enter that in. But yeah, I'm all caught up, but it was nice. When I had that back squat day, I pushed my pulls and pressing to the next day. So thankfully that didn't impact me too much on the front squats today. And were the pulls were still pretty easy. So we still got that going for me. But like I said, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all in the next one. Peace.